Hi, this is Shah Darby. In this video, I will give you an introduction to developing REST web services with Java. Well, you may have the question, what exactly are web services? Well, web services provide an interface for communication between applications. They only provide data. There's nothing related to user interface. There's two types of web services. You have SOAP-based web services and also RESTful web services. We'll discuss both of these in this lecture. Also, the nice thing to note is that both of these are also supported by Java EE. So let's start out with SOAP web services. SOAP stands for the Simple Object Access Protocol. It was the first standard for publishing and consuming web services. Data is exchanged between applications using XML. SOAP is still in use, but RESTful services are gaining in popularity. Now let's discuss RESTful web services. REST stands for Representational State of Transfer. It's a lightweight protocol for building web services. REST is actually based on the standard HTTP protocol. So you communicate back and forth using HTTP endpoints. And you can make use of the standard HTTP commands such as get, post, put, and delete. When you build web services using REST, you make use of the standard HTTP methods. So this is the mapping between the method and the normal action that you would perform in your web service. So for the get method, you would normally perform the action of retrieving data. For put method, you would update data. For the delete method is for removing data. And finally, the post method is for creating new data elements. When you transmit data to a RESTful web service, you have the option. You can make use of either XML or JSON. So JSON stands for the JavaScript Object Notation, and it's a very popular notation that a lot of folks prefer over XML. On the left-hand side, we have the XML to represent a stock entity, and then over on the right-hand side, we have the same information represented as JSON. So note here with JSON, it's really just a collection of name-value pairs with the colon as a separator. So let's move over to Eclipse, and what I want to do is show you Java's support for JSON. So I'll show you how Java can write a JSON object and also read a JSON object. All right, so I'm in my Eclipse project here. I'd like to open up the source code for lesson 33. And then I'll move down and expand the folder for Java resources. I'll move into the package JSON, and I'll select this file here, java to JSON object.java. So this is a Java application that can read and write JSON. So first off, I'll show you the packages that are supported in the Java development kit. So here I have javax.json. So these are packages that are available in Java 8 for processing JSON. Here I have this class called Java to JSON object. I have a main method. I'll create a product object. And this is just a very simple value object that has information about a product. Let's go take a look at this real quick. It's in our same package, product.java, and it's just a class called product. It has three fields for ID, description, and price. And then finally, we have a constructor here for the product. So again, just a very simple value object that we can use. So I'll move back over to my application here, expand the window a bit. So the first thing we're going to do is create an output JSON file. So we're going to create an object and then we're going to write that object as JSON to an output file. So I just set up an output stream to that file and make use of a JSON writer. Then I'll move forward and actually create an empty JSON object in memory. And I'll scroll up a bit. Then I'll go through and actually populate this JSON object with data from our product object that we created earlier. So here I'll say prdbuilder.add id, prd1.id. A similar thing for description and then also for price. So this is basically building a JSON object in memory right now. Then I'll make a call to build to kind of pull it all together. And then I'll just print out the contents of our JSON object as a string. Now what I want to do is go through and save this JSON object to a file. So first off, I just do a print line writing out to a file. So use my JSON-writer.object, PRD object, and that'll actually write it out to the file. Now, what I want to do is switch gears and actually read that file and read it back in as a JSON object. So I'll set up a handle to it, product from JSON, and then I'll read that object in, say JSON-reader.read object. And so at this point, I've read it back in from the file system. I have it as an object in memory, and then I can go ahead and print out the actual contents of that JSON object. All right, great. So now we've written out the file. Here's an actual run of the application. So here's the output. So at the top, it says PRD JSON object. It prints out the actual contents. Then it says, hey, I'm writing to a file. And then finally, it comes back and says reading and parsing the data. And then it also prints out the file that it just read in. So as you can see, our output JSON object matches our input JSON object. So we were successful in reading and writing JSON data using Java. Good job. Well, that wraps up our video. In this video, I gave you an introduction to developing REST web services with Java.